Queensland's decision to sign up to the National Disability Insurance Scheme leaves just Western Australia and the Northern Territory as the only two jurisdictions left to join in. But the pressure has not there's still pressure on the Newman government in Queensland, however, because disability groups are calling on Queensland to introduce a compulsory no-fault motor vehicle insurance scheme, such as exists in other states. It ensures people who receive a disability in a car accident aren't left out. Dr Bronwyn Morkham is National Director of Young People in Nursing Homes National Alliance. Good morning, Dr Morkham.
Morning, James. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. But if Queensland's signed up to the National Disability Insurance Scheme, why does it need a no-fault CTP scheme like those that have been in place in other states?
Well, it needs a no-fault insurance scheme for catastrophic injuries for a couple of reasons. One is the NDIS, or DisabilityCare as it's been renamed, is dependent on a national injury insurance scheme getting up as a companion scheme. Without that scheme, the NDIS won't be viable. It won't be able to sustain itself if it's got to take in all those with catastrophic injuries, injured in motor vehicle accidents, domestic accidents, assaults, sporting injuries and so on.
And currently, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, they have no-fault schemes. So all the other states, Queensland included, will have to incorporate their own if disability care is to work.
That's exactly right. When the states sign up to disability care, there's a condition in there that has actually been part of a COAG Heads of Government agreement that each state who signs up has to commit to rolling out the NIIS as well. And I guess for those states, if they fail to achieve the benchmarks, the Commonwealth, through disability care, will invoice the state for the cost of care for those people that should be in their no-fault injury schemes.
Wouldn't it be simpler to have a single scheme that covers everything? Wouldn't there be cost savings in that?
Look, it may well be, but I think this is to get these schemes up at all is such a huge social reform that we may need to take a two-step process to it. And I think the good thing about both is that they're going to evolve. Neither of them is going to be born fully formed, and that's got to be a very positive thing because we want to make sure they work absolutely correctly for people with a disability and protect all Australians. And I think this is a really important point to make, James, that these schemes aren't just for people with disability. They are for all of us. We are all at risk of confronting disability at some point in our lives. So we really need the public generally to support this and get behind it.
Injury that may be from birth, injury that may be by the fault of another, or injury that just may be faultless misfortune. That's the thing. And it's different levels of care depending on where you land on that roulette wheel.
Look, that's a very good way of putting it. At the moment, where you get injured and how you get injured determines what you get for your injury to recover, and that's simply not good enough. In a 21st century, first world economy such as ours, we can do a lot better than that, and these schemes are that opportunity. But we do need the NIIS to get up there with disability care so that the whole suite of services are available to those who need them.
This is the NIIS, the National Injury Insurance Scheme, to complement the NDIS, now Disability Care, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. It's complex, further complicated by the fact that it'll be the states, as you say, who have to have this CTP, compulsory injury insurance scheme. If the states are running their own version, doesn't that mean there'll be different standards of care for different people in different jurisdictions, which is the whole problem you tried to avoid in the first place?
Indeed, and hopefully not. I mean, I think at the moment we're looking at a federated model where the states will be wrapped up under an agreement that gives some consistency across the board. I know that at the moment South Australia has legislation before Parliament to move to a no-fault motor vehicle scheme. The ACT is considering extending it to include cyclists and pedestrians. Really, the states that we don't have any information on yet are really Queensland, though they have committed as of yesterday through their signing of the Disability Care Agreement. WA is a very important one, and the Northern Territory, as you've said. But I think if we can get those states on board, we should have some real capacity to deliver.
And what does Premier Newman say about this?
Well, interestingly, Premier Newman in his press conference actually said that getting the NIIS up was the next priority for him. So that was wonderful to hear. Of course, developing this sort of thing, it takes time. We have to be a little bit patient, but it was wonderful to hear him commit to that because I know motorists in Queensland especially, but others with catastrophic injuries, can't wait to get the help they need through such a scheme.
And the implication of that scheme not coming through, well, is really reflected in the title, the Director of Young People in Nursing Homes. I mean, explain how the status quo works and the problems with the current system.
Well, if you don't have capacity to get compensation or you're not injured under a scheme that can support you, you fall back on the public system. And while the public system does a great job, it doesn't have the resources. One of the things that people with catastrophic injuries need across the board is substantial community-based rehabilitation, and they just don't get it. They're usually on an express route out of hospital into a nursing home, and while the nursing home does its very best, it's not resourced for these people either. It can't give them the rehabilitation, the special equipment that they need to recover and regain their capacity. So without this scheme, we're likely to see young people keep on entering aged care. We're likely to see them in aged care going backwards from where the hospital has got them to. So it's not acceptable on any level that we don't get these schemes up.
And you want them cared for in the home with a fully funded support scheme?
Absolutely. These young people have had an able-bodied life before they've acquired their disability, and they want the same opportunity any of us would expect to go back to the community and live their life in the community with their family, their friends, everyone else, maybe get a job. But they want to live in the community as valued members of the community. They don't want to be institutionalised.
Well, thank you, Bronwyn Morkham, for being with us.
Thanks so much, James.
Dr. Bronwyn Morkham from the Young People in Nursing Homes National Alliance.